Welcome. This is a Real News and NewsClick production. I'm Shamini Pires coming to you from Baltimore. India's Hindu nationalist BJP party of Narendra Modi won a clear majority in 2 of the 5 state assembly elections last week, most significantly defeating Congress in Uttar Pradesh, also known as UP, which is India's most heavily populated state with over 200 million people and the third largest economy in the country. BJP also won the state of Uttarakhand. The Congress party did win the state of Punjab. In Goa and Manipur, no party had a clear majority, but the BJP has created a post-election alliance to rule. Our Madam party appear to have lost big all around. On to analyze these results with me is founder and editor-in-chief of NewsClick, Prabir Purkayastha. Prabir is joining us today from New Delhi. Thanks so much for joining us, Prabir.
Thanks, Shamini. Good to be here.
So, Prabir, give us a sense of what happened in each of the states and the significance of it.
Well, the biggest state is, of course, Uttar Pradesh, and that's, if it was an independent country, it would have been the 5th largest country in the world. So that's a big electorate. And Indian terms, that's really what's going to decide what happens in the future, both in terms of the upper house of the legislature, which shifts then with this results to really the BJP in the coming biennial elections that takes place. And then we have also the presidential election that takes place, which is decided by the houses of parliament as well as the state legislatures. In both these, BJP would have a majority thanks to what's happened in UP. So UP is a big one. UP was not a Congress stronghold. Congress was actually quite weak there, but there are 2 regional parties who are quite strong, and the both have really not done well. They have held on to their respective vote bases, which is about, one party got about 22%, the other got about 29%, as opposed to BJP's 39%. But this is a first past poll system. So with 39%, BJP had 3/4 majority, and that's what really has told in their favor. It has shifted the political balance completely in the favor of BJP after these elections in the country. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from what's happened. Yes, the Congress did well in Punjab. The BJP and its allies, Shiromani Akali Dal, were defeated badly. In Goa, they did not so well. Manipur, they did again not so well. They didn't have majorities. They were clearly ahead of the BJP. And unfortunately, the governors in both the states have played a dubious role by calling not the biggest party, which is what the convention is, but calling BJP, which claimed a post-poll alliance, and then demanded that we be allowed to form the government. And the governors accepted these claims, which I think is, in constitutional terms, not really the right thing to do, which has been pointed out by some of the leading lawyers in the country, constitutional lawyers in the country. Overall terms, a bad election for the Congress, except in Punjab. The fact that it is no longer a player in UP is a very big loss for it. The fact that its allies have also lost in UP, lost big time. That is also something which is going to tell for the future. In effect, Congress does not appear to have come off well in this election, though it may not be so apparent from the vote figures or the results of the assemblies. AAP, you said, has lost big time. I don't think AAP has lost big time in that sense. It has not been able to make breakthroughs beyond Delhi. Punjab, it was expected to do better. That is the only other state which was really in the running. It was expected to go neck to neck with the Congress and deciding who would be number 1 and number 2. And that it has been really far behind the Congress. Congress has won decisively in Punjab. Even though Punjab compared to UP is a much smaller state, it is about 1/3 the size of UP in terms of parliamentary seats, is still an important state in overall terms. So yes, Congress has got a little bit of a breather in the fact that it has held on to Punjab. But overall terms, Congress does not look a very healthy opposition at the moment. And it does appear that the current leadership of Congress has really no clue what to do and how to make a comeback.
Right. Prabir, these victories together really strengthen the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's hand in terms of the upcoming election in 2019, as you have already indicated. Give us a sense of the morale in the Congress party and the other left parties in terms of what happened.
See, I think the biggest takeaway from this election is this is being regarded as a Narendra Modi victory in UP. It is not that they had any local leader of stature, they did not announce a chief ministerial candidate, it was really Narendra Modi versus the rest. What has happened is it makes his position in the country of a leader much stronger than what was before the UP elections. Compared to that, the stature of all the other leaders, including the Congress, shall we say, the Crown Prince, Rahul Gandhi, his stature looks much more diminished. So this has created this specific scenario where Narendra Modi has become a virtually an unrivaled leader, and whatever he is saying has a certain degree of resonance and credibility, which goes far beyond his party and even his Hindu nationalist agenda, as you called it, what I would call a Hindu sectarian agenda. So this is the one takeaway from what has happened, that it has increased Narendra Modi's stature compared to any other leader, and it has also put on the agenda that how do you build a resistance to what the Modi government or the Modi dispensation has been able to build. I think it's also important to see there are two other things which have happened which need to be taken into consideration. One is we had a secular India which came out of the national movement. I think that concept of secular India has been weakened now by the kind of onslaught which has been put in the UP elections. BJP didn't put a single Muslim candidate, made clear that it did not seek the Muslim votes, it is going to bank only on the Hindu votes. The two largest regional parties in UP were based on what would be called caste identities. One was the Dalits, the scheduled castes, which had really gathered behind the BSP. They're about 22% of the voting strength in UP. The vote of that party, the BSP, did not exceed this. So she could not, the leader Mayawati could not break into any other vote basis beyond what was the Dalit vote base. Similarly, the Muslims rallied behind largely what is called the Samajwadi Party, and that had also has this OBC identity, but that also did not go beyond a certain narrow sectarian basis, shall we say. And what we are seeing is therefore the inability of the identity based politics to make much of a headway against the communal or the sectarian Hindu identity based politics of Narendra Modi. So I think that is something which is going to change the way we have to look at Indian politics today. The two major agendas, the secular agenda and the what would be called the social inclusion agendas, both have been weakened, but the kind of, shall we say, developmental agenda which Modi has put forward is very much pro-business, as well as the kind of anti-Muslim agenda that he has put forward, which of course in India masquerade as an anti-Pakistan nationalist agenda. I think this is the main change that we are seeing in the country, and we all need to address how do you resist the nature of the state changing the way it has. And you're right, 2019 elections really look bleak for all opposition forces, and unless we are able to stop the Modi's march in the way it is taking place today, it will be a difficult 5 to 7 years for the country.
Right. And Prabir, finally, how would you put this win against other right-wing parties that have risen up across the world, including right here in the United States with President Donald Trump?
I think we need to bring back two kinds of agendas if we want to contest this kind of right-wing forces. One is that we need to bring back cultural social resistance center stage. That means there is an onslaught which is taking place, the way we live, the way we identify ourselves, how we count ourselves. So how do you bring back an agenda for resistance? In India specifically, we need to contest the kind of sectarian agenda which is being put forward. It's not very different from the white nationalist agenda, except the identity that is being projected is a different identity. But it's really a majoritarian identities which are now coming into force, and they're very anti-minorities, they're very anti-inclusive. They don't want to include any sections except what the majoritarian definition of the nation is. So I think this is a much larger resistance we have to build, which is social, economic and cultural resistance, and not just political resistance. If we think in terms of just political parties, I think we'll miss what is the essential thrust of this agenda, which is really reforming the nation in different terms. And I think that is why we really need to focus on what is the kind of resistance we need to build. It has to be multidimensional, in which politics is only one dimension. The social, the economic, the class, all of this has to come together in order to recapture the democratic space of the societies.
All right, Prabir, I thank you for now. I'm sure in terms of your analysis of what's going on, both in terms of the BJP party as well as the Congress and the left, is going to be an ongoing discussion here at The Real News. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Shabali.
And thank you for joining me here on The Real News Network.